Hey, I'm Christa.
Hey, I'm Micah.
Welcome to Bad People with
Good stories.
This is a podcast that seeks to challenge black and white thinking
By exploring the gray.
Yes, so DJ is joining us today, and he is a local recording artist. He goes under the name Dwy. You can find him on iTunes, and he is a father of two kids. One is a tween. We just discovered almost a tween, and then how old? 7. Yes, we'll leave them unnamed today. Wife, pre-tween, and husband to a wonderful woman who I have spent some time with, and I just have to say, she is lovely. I know you speak so highly of her.
I do.
Yeah, we once did, what was that, like go-karting together? And I was impressed because the rest of us, need to win at like all costs. Like I'm cutting everyone off, and she's just the kindest, most secure person, just like in the right-hand lane, like just, okay, guys, you go prove yourselves. I'm good. And I'm like, you rock. Exactly.
Yeah, the personality doesn't translate well with go-karting. Like if she had blinkers, she would have used
100%, which I feel like she maybe singled with her hand. It was awesome. Yeah. So anyways, welcome here. We have lots of questions. I'm sure this will be an amazing interview. So yeah, first question, kind of like your origin story. Tell us a bit about where you came from.
Well, I was born in Surrey and basically raised in Maple Ridge. I was a child of the ministry, so I was a foster kid. I kind of like bounced around a few different houses, but situated in one for most of my childhood in Maple Ridge with a few of my siblings. And when I was, I think it was like grades 5 or 6, I was introduced to Oasis, which led me to be introduced to the Beatles, which is kind of backwards.
Oh my gosh, I just have to say here, because I was saying to Christa, as I've been listening to your music the last few days, I was like, I feel like he really has the music reminds me a lot of like British pop. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can hear, I love that because I can hear that, like I said to her, literally, I could hear undertones of like Oasis in there and Paul McCartney and things like that. So that's awesome.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
Yeah, Paul McCartney's good.
Love it.
And then, so started getting into music, and my dad was a musician, so I moved in with my dad. He built a house in Maple Ridge, and then he kind of got all of the family together and out of the system, which is amazing.
Wow, yeah.
And then he was a bass player, so he had like instruments and stuff. And just like started playing music and kind of identified as a bass player for most of it, and I played in the church. And then, started writing songs and joined the Zolas. Well, met Caitlin, had a kid, joined the Zolas, and was living in Vancouver for about like 7 years. And now I'm back in Maple Ridge.
No way. Okay, so I thought maybe you would have been in a band in like your youth, but no, that was more like Valeria's band.
No, I was in a band. Yeah. We were called Familia, and we were a Christian rock band, essentially.
Yes.
But so the guys in the band, like Tamara sang, she was the Christian. And we kind of secretly didn't want to be a Christian band. But her lyrics were just like, they were really good, and we didn't sound like worship. Like if you were listening, like you guys would pick up on it. Yes, Tamara has that kind of flow and that energy about her. But and so there was a lot of like so much chemistry with us, and so much, different viewpoints on kind of how to live. And I kind of feel bad for her because she was trying so hard to make us, I guess, see the light the whole time.
How about you?
And we were young, like
how old were you?
I guess I started that band probably when I was like 18, 19, and we were in that band probably for like just under
decade, maybe like 7 years, a year.
Hey, Familia, like were any of your, because I know your siblings, or one of them for sure plays, is it
Corey, yeah, my younger brother plays bass in my project, Dwight.
Okay, yeah. But in that one, like were there your family?
Cody, who I played in the Zolas with, so he drums in the Zolas.
Yes.
And then Bronson, who plays guitar, and he joined the Zolas, I think like 5 years ago.
No way. Okay.
So it's basically Familia is the Zolas, and yeah,
Cool.
with Zach singing now.
Yeah. I know you referenced, I mean, because we talk about church a lot on this podcast, and you maybe had some starting points in there. At least that's where I think you met your wife, right?
Yeah, that's where we met. So she was an attendee and I was a half attendee. But like, so Tamara, the singer of Familia, she, I would go to church with her a lot. And play bass in the church band. And one day after, I had broken up with my girlfriend and I was like really bummed. And then the pastor was trying to hook me up with Caitlin's cousin. Right. And so I went on a date with her. Not a date, like we just hung out. And we went to a friend's house and I remember seeing, we were walking this way and then Caitlin was walking this way. And I just like felt like just walking by her, I was just like, like you're just like, she's not.
I love that.
That's so cute. How old were you then?
Young 20s, 20, 21.
Yeah. So like, yeah, that's nice that you guys have
A child.
made it all this time. And this was this young, well, I always think of this like young Christian love.
I don't know. I've always had like this shame. This kind of like, this need to like look good in other people's eyes, or like this need to not say the wrong thing. And so I feel like just being around Christians or being in a kind of positive atmosphere like that made me feel like people didn't look down on me, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And then kind of later, discovered Caitlin kind of felt the same way. So it's cool though. And I'm really, I'm stoked that we met where we did.
Yeah, that's so cool. I feel like we all have that in us, that like need to, just be seen. Yeah. So I'm curious how you obviously recognize that in yourself, but how do you shake that off? Or, I don't know. Does it still matter as much to you? Does it still matter as much to you now to be seen well or perceived well?
I think it does. I think it does. It does, but it shifts from one location to the next. Like right now, I'm on this, this kick where like I need to do an absolute perfect job at my job.
Yeah,
like I got to do everything perfectly. I want to be like known as the person who's just like so reliable.
Yeah.
And just right now, but like I would say probably a few months ago, I was just like definitely, on my days off, because they're my days off.
Yeah.
Really more protective about things that, are for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's weird. I think, I just have like this kind of fear of confrontation as well. I think that plays easier, the kind of like people pleaser thing.
Yeah, I can identify with that.
Where does that come from? Because I know like we've gotten into where that comes from for you and I, like the people pleasing and the fear of like confrontation, because usually there's like a consequence to like speaking up or to like
Probably honest.
Yeah, or to being seen or like in the way.
Yeah. I have an idea because it's a memory I've remembered, and surely that must mean something because your brain remembers it like a young memory. And it's like, we kind of see those as like memories and we're like, oh yeah, it's just something that like, but your brain holds on to that situation. And I think you are like, you develop into the person you are because of that. And there's,
more kind of embodied.
It really is. And it's like all of that, whatever that feeling from that memory, it's kind of like it's imprinted in your DNA or something. And I feel like for me, one of
kind of why I think I hate confrontation is I was being taken out by my social worker, and I remember going to McDonald's, and he had bought me like a sundae, and for whatever reason, I was eating it, and I guess I didn't want it anymore, and I heard someone say, "It's fine, just throw it out." So I just threw it out, and then when I got back into his car, he's like, "Where's the ice cream?" I'm like, "You told me to throw it out," and he's like, "You threw out the ice cream?" And then I remember going home, and he was pretty upset, and then I remember like getting grounded or something, and I remember just like feeling injustice for the first time as well.
Yeah.
Because it's like there's no courtroom. It's just like hearsay, and the situation is what it is.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I think that has a lot to do with that.
Yeah.
But just this idea that like our memories are remembered because it's embedded, like it's changed or embedded something in us.
Yeah. Well, and it's maybe tied to survival as well, right? Like this memory is a core one for a reason. Like it was teaching you something about how you're going to get through the next 10, 15, 20 years or whatever, right? Would you say those felt like unsafe times for you? Like,
I would just first like to say that I have an ice cream addiction now.
fantastic. It's been redeemed. Fuck this. Yes.
Literally eating my memories and feelings.
Well, I know you also write about them too.
Sorry, what was the question?
Yeah, like the survival bit, like I'm feeling unsafe. Like I can assume not having a witness there, parents kind of going like, no, I'll keep you safe. This is somewhat of a stranger to you, saying that they're a safe person, that they've got your back, and now you're getting in trouble for like, fuck what? Like you threw out an ice cream? You told me to. Like, yeah, and just like who do I check in with about this? Like I can assume that would be like a pretty jarring experience. Although for some they'd be like, what's the fucking big deal? But it is a big deal for a small child that's like,
I think so, yeah. Because we all are just children.
it's kind of scary, right?
Feel it out the world, man. I don't specifically know what I'm about to say, but I heard you stop the person, like when you're 6, all of your core, like not identity, but like all of your like fight or flight responses are like set in stone.
Yeah.
After like, after like 6.
Yeah.
So, I was very aware of that with my youngest. And when he turned 7, it was like, all right, job's done.
Scot-free. I know it is very scary as a parent thinking about that too much. Like, yeah. And feeling the weight of it.
Thinking about memories too, like how, like that story I just, we were just talking about, just thinking about like when you're teaching your kids or when you're with them, just like, I hope this will be a core memory, or like, oh, I don't want to be like too upset because I don't want, to happen to me to happen to them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's heavy. I feel like if you, like I've had to reconcile with, I'm just not going to be a perfect parent, but it's hard when you like, because I've got 7 siblings as well, a big family grew up in.
You have 7 too?
Yeah, 7. I'm the oldest, so there's 8 of us. Yeah. But yes, there were some things I experienced as a kid too that I'm like, I am not going to let my kids go through that. But yeah, it's hard just also reconciling with, I won't also do it perfect though. But hopefully it's, these little small changes that do improve their lives as the generations roll on, and then they will hopefully take that and run with it.
They're supposed to go through hard shit. Totally ER too.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to like feel icky when we think about it, because if you do, that probably means hopefully you won't do it again, or it won't happen again because you won't pick yourself in that spot.
Yeah.
And I think like a theme of this podcast specifically, it's things like that where it doesn't make you necessarily a bad person.
Yeah.
It's only psychotic if you just keep doing it.
Yeah. Sanity. Just doing something over and over. Yeah.
Affecting different results.
Yes, that's exactly. I don't remember who said that, but I was curious about. So going back to your sort of timeline and meeting Caitlin, and then what kind of church culture was that you were sort of involved in then? Was it like Pentecostal, evangelical? Was it a bit more conservative?
It wasn't very conservative. It felt very kind of the liberal. You know, it was pre-accepting. It was in mission. A lot of the clientele, I feel like they were ex-addicts now.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of that energy as
Yeah.
well. The pastor is really cool. Yeah, it was especially when Caitlin and I got pregnant. It was really nice because we were one of the younger attendees there. I like how I'm calling them something different every single time.
Attendees, clientele. I love it.
So,
Customers.
and they were really sweet, and we got like they were like a lot of them later aged people, and they helped us out a lot.
Yeah, that's valuable.
It was
Yeah.
really important, I think, for us, just like as we were getting our life started and becoming parents, to have that foundation.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah. And so were you still playing music in the church at that time, or?
I think so. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I was still on the bass.
Yeah.
Playing a lot of Hillsong.
Yeah. That does not surprise me, but wow. Yes. Yeah, so how did you find that, like church music? What are your sort of perceptions of it overall?
Playing anything live is cool because you can get lost in it, or at least your section of what you're doing. And I don't care really what style of music I'm playing. If you're doing it live and you have like chemistry with someone, or if it's like feeling good, it'll feel good.
Yeah.
I typically hate Christian music though. I just find it like, just like content wise, it's just like there seems to be these like, it's a lot like Christmas music, where you got to mention certain things like Christmas music. You know, there's always like keywords. Yeah. Or like there's always jingle bells. It's like, oh, now I know it's a Christmas song.
Yeah.
Now I can get into it.
Yeah.
And it's like unusually hypersexual. Like I think Christian music is more sexual than like WAP.
How so?
My knees, come fill me up.
Yeah, yeah. Some people would just be like, okay, get your mind out of the gutter. That's one of the things I have with it is that
it's just cheesy. Like I always know where it's gonna go.
Yeah.
And I just can't really. It's not about trusting, but I just don't really ultimately believe or know for sure about anything happens after death. So it's like I feel like I'm kind of wasting my time hearing about it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I feel like it's, I don't know, because you know how pop is kind of like, the pop genre is like, it's popular, but it's popular for a reason, and often because a lot of the stuff talked about in pop is very surfacey, or it's the illusion and the romanticism of our lives, like, you know, true love and relationships. I don't know, and I also get tired of just hearing about relationships. Like, I'm like, give me something a little more like, you know, that's old, or that's just been so used. But I think, yeah, for me, Christian music is interesting now because it's, I mean, I songwrite, and I used to. I wouldn't say I do it now, but I did love songwriting, and I used to write a lot of songs and do my own music, like before I got involved in church.
Like Christian songs?
No, just like songs about life, relationships. Yeah, and then I got involved in church, and then I applied my songwriting love and passion for it there, and sort of tried to fit the mold in Christian music. And I found after a while, like after years of trying to do that and being coached by like the higher ups too of Christian songwriting.
But that is awesome. Like, that's really cool about, like, because those are like established songwriters. Totally. Like, I'm not saying there's anything like actually broken about like songwriting, because
No, I honestly learned.
it's a recipe.
Yeah, I learned like so much about just like the craft of songwriting and grew in it in ways. But I think the material that we were always encouraged to write was what you were saying. Like, and it's just, for me, after a while, it felt like I'm not really writing anything of myself here. It's just trying to rewrite the Bible and like paraphrase it, and almost you're doing the work of translation, like trying to translate the Bible into songs that are relevant that people can sing. And it's just very fine, like tight parameters that I was like, after a while, I felt like my creativity actually kind of died a little because it was like not me expressing my honesty and my views. But I mean, some people can do that in the Christian sense and write, like, I appreciate some of those songs that are a little more like explorational and not just the typical Christian pop, you know?
Well, I think it's interesting you said like you having kind of like certain things to look out for when you're writing songs. Because I usually try to be really just like an open vessel when writing music. Yeah, but even when you do that and you have a collection of songs, you're like, well, something needs to give or something needs to change. And I find it really helpful when you do give yourself some templates. So I think as an artist, it's like you got to learn how to flex both of those muscles. Like just being an open book or just being like, okay, I need to give myself some purposeful guidelines. And I think it's great that you kind of were, it was like Hillsong. You're basically being trained by Hills. That's why. Yeah. You have a cooler resume than me.
But it's interesting as you guys are talking, like what, like having a recipe for success. Like we often sort of say like our art or whatever we're trying to do, what like it serves us. Like it's not here to, sometimes it could be here to serve the people and some aspects of it do. But is that the metric? Like what are, even with the parameters you're talking about, like is it you're just trying to focus yourself so that you get an outcome that you want out of this, that you think is going to better the world? Or is it to have a hit song? And none of these, like none of the, like the thing that you're aiming for, it's not, those things aren't bad. It's just knowing, I think that is having that clarity. Because same with like the writing the hit song or the song that's going to sell a bunch to all the churches that are going to then sing it, or it's going to edify a congregation, which would be something like, you know, oh, we're going to sing good theology. Like knowing that, like kind of like the why or like the outcome is so important, which is just interesting because I think if you don't have a pure outcome, then you lose like the magic of your authenticity, which again is like, we're supposed to speak truth into this world, not just more like kind of fake garbage, maybe. Yeah. Which is maybe what you were kind of getting at with Christian songs. Like,
yeah. Well, yeah, I just, and you know, looking back, rewinding in my head of what I said, that was a bit rude. Bye.
I love that you acknowledge that.
bad people.
I totally get why I'm on this podcast now. Makes a lot of sense. I should just be a co-host now.
It's good though. It's honest discussion.
It can be really hard just to stay open or to get inspired, but something that I think is really important in whatever you're doing, it could be art, is just to enjoy the process. Mm. And I think with music, it gets overwhelming because it's so easy to look ahead of like, what's this album going to sound like? Or who am I going to get to mix it? Or like, what's the press release going to look like? Or like, what's my aesthetic? What are my videos? How am I going to do that?
Yeah.
And just if those things aren't your cup of tea, just that's fine. Maybe you'll do it later. Just focus on the process of everything you're doing in the moment.
Yeah.
And you know, that's what I try to do as far as songwriting and being in the studio is my favorite part. And I do like playing live. I just love the process of making songs.
Well, yeah, you seem like somebody who's attached to all of those aspects. Like you're the creative director of the project Why, which is pretty cool. So even like the songwriting or the visuals or all of that seem.
You don't want to be a boss.
The purpose. Well, you do it really well. Like there's like you're doing something, which is really fun to engage with it. I'm like, oh, there's a bear. He's got his eyes crossed.
I like you keep me in check too. Like we'll be texting and I'll be like, oh, thank you so much. And like, just send a heart. And you're like, no, that's not your heart. That's not your center. It's like, where's the black heart? I'm like, oh yeah, shit, you're right.
Krista's definitely the brand person. She's got the great eyes for that.
She does all that.
Coolest shirt, by the way.
I tell you.
Where can you find this? I don't know.
You didn't like draw the thing or anything, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be available on A Store sometime.
Just come to a concert, no? That's where we get, yeah. Yeah, okay, so we were talking about church, we were talking about music, and then at some point, like, you left the church, but you reference, so I think this is interesting, a lot of your music has, like, either, like, religious reference,
I can't stop thinking about it.
walk us through that a little bit, yeah.
Well, like, in specific, yeah, because I think religion and God and just the concept of a creator comes up a lot because a lot of my close friends believed in creators, and I feel like I kind of grew to accept it and then had a falling out. I think when people are kind of born in more of an atheist sort of home where religion and spirituality isn't really talked about that much, they probably have a different standpoint on that because they find God when they're on a mushroom trip in their 20s, and they're like, whoa, this was my first. But when you're kind of indoctrined into it, it's interesting. Like, a lot of people end up having a lot of quarrels and friction with faith, and I think I definitely have. But like for a song like "Fear Forever," and I know that's one you kind of wanted to talk about. Don't ever trust a God who leaves you all alone, deadbeat dad energy. And it's just this kind of thought that it's something I always kind of think about. It's like being a father. It's like I would never just like drop my kids off at like Earth daycare and just like watch them like on my phone from a camera, and it's hard to relate. And I know the kind of, it's like, it's different because there's like spirituality involved and the physics are completely different. And, but it's whenever, like if my kid were to cry out in pain, I would be there fucking as fast as I could.
Yeah.
And it's strange to think that there's this, it's not strange, like, we're not hating on anyone, but for me, it was bizarre to think that there was this father that wouldn't come running down the stairs. No.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I had an interesting experience this last week or a couple weeks ago with somebody saying, like, oh, we prayed that it wouldn't rain, and no diss on them. Like, I love that for this person. Like, oh yeah, God, like, could, prevent rain on a special day for you. And then you think about, again, other events where kids are being like hurt and they're being abused, and how is that the same God? Because like here, God intervened and helped like you to have a beautiful like celebration, and this child needed help, needed God to intervene. And how do you make those the same thing? And
I guess He works in mysterious ways.
Yeah, it's so fucked up though. Like, it's just like, why do some get action and then others don't? And I think that's sort of like what you're saying is that abandon, that being alone, that having just moments of like, well, does anybody fucking care? Like, what's really going on? And like that's a really good question. And I think for some people, they could see that and be like, oh, this guy's such a bad guy, saying God's like a deadbeat dad. Like, that's so fucked up. And it's like, well, no, that's been your experience, and that's really valid, and that's horrendous that's something that you could even utter. Should be like, I mean, another person was like commenting, we posted something about like, fuck you, you fucking fuck. Like, it was like this thing on our thing, and some Christian person, well-meaning, was like, oh, the language. And I was like, no, it's not the language. Like, if you have to use the...
You sounded so Christian there, man.
Yeah. Oh, my pearls. Like, yeah, but it's like, no, if somebody has to use language like that, like, maybe be curious, maybe ask, like, what is going on, like, in your life that...
Have you seen The Pastor Who Swears?
Oh, I mean, there's a few. There's one to the States. Tell me more.
Yeah, it's like a YouTube. I don't know. Just look up swearing pastor.
It'd be pretty funny.
Yeah.
I think parenting is interesting that way, because I feel like for me, I think becoming a parent was like, oh, this is a new level of embodying what I believe. Because for me, I was sort of brought up, with very Christian conservative views. And I remember just looking at my son when he was born, and this, tiny, innocent, helpless little baby who's completely dependent on you, and thinking, do I really believe like this, that my son deserves to die, because that's kind of what I was like, essentially we're told is that we deserved death, but Jesus died in our place so that we wouldn't have to suffer the consequences, that we're naturally born sinful. Yeah, but I wouldn't have thought of that unless that I wouldn't have had to confront that, I think, so viscerally unless I became a parent and like was holding my son. And then that's when I had to really reckon with myself. I was like, I think at my core, I don't believe that. I don't believe I'm bad.
Calling to like kill your firstborn child.
It's just like it's just it does not connect. And as well, that brought to light the fact, like we're told that, at least in my context, that you deserve death for your sin. And so therefore the gospel is everything, like being saved and relying on that savior to live, and then living in a way where you sacrifice like your life for that salvation so that others will have it too. But I was like, there was just such a dissonance because in our church culture, there was a lot of, we were just essentially, you're just living your life, like doing your best to make your life good, to live well, be successful. Like at the end of the day, I am looking after myself in a way that values my life, and in that sense, I am good. So it was just like this really like, it was just, it felt so confusing at the time. I was like, but that did, becoming a parent for me for sure was like where I did start to really question some of those beliefs that I had sort of just ingested. And I don't know, I resonate with that because
He's an interesting dad. You know, he did a lot of like bad stuff in the olden days, but then he had a kid, and then he kind of got like, he's like, oh yeah, maybe I was mean on these humans. Let's just say I kill my son. Now I'll be a bit better, he does.
Like, I love the like satirical kind of like, because you're kind of like, this is the weirdest thing I've ever heard. Look at it.
Based on may be the wrong word, but like, it's just bizarre because it's like, you know, he's made in our image, so he's kind of like, you know, he looks a lot like me most likely, and he is a human, so he probably, or she's not a human, but like we have some of their qualities. Like when made in the image of something, do you guys think it's like physical, or maybe it's physical and emotional?
Well, even that I find now problematic because I'm like, I'm a female, I'm a woman, and I was conditioned for so long to believe in a male, he, him, God.
Because men are leaders.
Yeah.
And
that's literally in the
yeah. Well, in the English it is, but like in Jewish culture and even Judaism, like there's way more references to like female qualities of God and like the nurturing side. And you do find that a bit like in the Old Testament, and talk words like suckling and like Jesus being like a mother hen or God being a mother hen but for the most part, it was a male idea of God that shaped everything else about my world and how I saw myself as a woman, like being sort of less than, you know, and
I have this struggle with like, what is personality and what is sin and thoughts and like what makes us who we are. Like we're brained for computers, and we have like we call them personalities, and a lot of those are made up from maybe bad sinful things, or like and if we're made in the image of God or to be like God, or surely he has some sort of personality and is flawed too, because like this whole experiment, it can't just be all good, because it isn't, you know. And that in itself, if God is all good, how could he create something? How could something all good create the idea of a flaw, you know? And so there's so many, and it's so cool to think about, like, and I'm not even saying that sarcastically because it's so interesting, you know?
Yeah.
But this idea of what makes us who we are, what is truly good and bad, and can something imperfect come from something perfect.
Of course, people would just argue that it's Satan would be the polarity of like the good God, and anything bad within us, that's all like this, we're in this war and there's like, evil intention to destroy us. And the more that we've looked at that, again, like the polarity seems to exist within just the human. Like possibly is God a construct? Like possibly, like when you look at like the history of man and kind of go like, wait, is God, within us? Like, is this something like you were referencing that we were created in God's image, but maybe we created God in our image? And then therefore, like, yeah, how do you understand that? Like part of what you're speaking about makes me think of like you must have had like some moment, like I would say to you, you've probably had many moments of like breaking, of being, broken by other people from circumstances that have been placed on you. But did you have like a moment, like a breaking point where you're like, wait, I have to reanalyze everything that I've thought and how I'm here today, and I actually don't want to be in this place, and I'm going to choose something different for myself?
When Kayla got pregnant.
Really?
Yeah, that was just like, a wake up call. Or it was like, I actually want to strive for something like bigger than myself. And and I was in the church, and I think, trying to think about old me and how he thought, there's always doubt. I always had doubt about it, but there was moments where I'm like, this could actually be real. And I think that's why so many broken people, or people who struggle with addiction, or people who come from messed up families, the church is a great place for them. It's a family, and it probably beats being on a corner doing God knows what. But with pain, you open up. It's an open wound, and you're trying to, anything can go into it. And I am lucky that, I was involved with the church when I was, because I needed them, becoming a dad and identifying as an adult, at that time.
Yeah.
Having to change, what I was doing on weekends. It was good, but is it real?
Yeah. I was just thinking that that's the thing. Like it's this beautiful picture of community, but is it just possibly like another fake thing that you're putting into the wound, hoping that it could be real? And I think what is tricky is what harm ends up happening, believing that something that is possibly fake, that when you believe that it's so real, then there's harm that is done, right? Like, no, we can either all kind of say like, it might be a fairy tale or whatever, and this is just what we believe in to get by. And like, let's just call a spade, because I think believing, I don't know, that's.
Well, I think everyone's faith has to be like a spectrum, and it can't always just be like all the way to belief. I think it's healthy. Well, whether it is, I think it'd be unnatural just to be all the way to believe. But it's surely, it's fluctuating all the time for people. And it has to be, because whether, they go through life changes or something happens to them or to their family, I'm sure it shakes their faith. I know for me, it was just more of, when we first moved to Vancouver, we were still kind of, Caitlin and I wanted to find like a church, and we found a church in Vancouver, Artisan. And I just remember just being so like not relating to anyone, or I just felt like, I don't know. I just don't believe that these people believe it. Do I believe it? I don't think I do anymore. And if you're looking to get out of your faith, go there.
Well, it's like a church for artists, is it not? Like I've heard just a little bit about that place, I think. Isn't it just more people that are
artists? Yeah. Oh, everyone's like in like game design. Everyone's just got like game design. Everyone's just like a cool jobs that like they can do at home, which is like
yeah, it's great. If God is not the thing. What do you believe in? Like, do you believe in your art? I know that you, again, process trauma and your story through art.
The trauma record was something that like I felt like I really wanted to write a record about something. Like I wanted it to be like a theme, and it's like, what do I know really well, or what do I, what topic could I make like 10 songs out of? I'm like, oh yeah, what about my traumatic past? This is a fucking good idea. So, and I actually was warned by my brother. He was like, I don't know, man. This is like, you may not want to do this, or you may not like. I'm like, and it was interesting because he actually said, he's like, this is kind of our story too. And I'm like, yeah, it's fine. And looking back on it, but it was good though, because I think I needed to do it because I wanted to just like go through it again, or like remember, maybe draw a connection to what happened to the way I am, and a lot of like self-realization. But it was so exhausting, and especially having to like follow it up with like a small like press release and stuff, and talk to people about it. And like I went on CBC. It was like my biggest interview next to this,
Obviously.
It was cool though to talk about, because I think what I told myself at the time, if there is any kids or adults who grew up in a similar way to me, maybe, it would just be nice to hear that, or validating, because a lot of kids, it's like a huge percentage of them either end up on the streets or incarcerated. And, I'm definitely one of, the lucky ones. So even in that, I see privilege. But, and I think we said this maybe before the interview, but it was, even though a part of me kind of regrets it, just like sharing so much about my past, to the point where like my album cover, when I'm selling it live, I like will flip the cover.
Yeah. So is that what comes with that? Is that like a sense of like regret or shame, or
It is like embarrassment, or it's like the album cover, just like it's usually not like okay, so it's just like, what happened?
Yeah.
Sorry, out.
Yeah.
And then it's just like another band's playing, and you're just like, I had a fucked up childhood. Sorry?
Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah.
Those, oh my God.
Yeah.
So it's just bizarre. But I think I needed to have done it to know that I don't want to do it anymore. Yeah. And I think it was important for me to go through that and I would say to anyone, not to the extent of making a complete art project, but I think it's important to intentionally look at what kind of things or memories did you go through that you feel like could have shaped the things or the patterns you do now.
For sure. Yes. Well, and witnessing, like we've kind of like referenced this a lot. Like if you went through things that maybe you just went through, or maybe your brother was there too, but not having a proper witness of those, like not having a parent kind of walking through that, like you've now re-witnessed yourself. And unfortunately, other people were along that ride and possibly said unkind things to you, like as you're releasing this very personal art. And there wasn't that like sensitivity chip to go like, maybe I'm not going to judge this with such harshness.
Maybe I got judged.
Yeah, which is like, I can't believe that you would put, like, beautiful that you put that out there. I'm so sorry.
It's fine. It's like, but when I look at it, like there was one thing comes to mind specifically, Exclaim, which is like a music and arts magazine in Vancouver. They put it on there. I think it was like top 10 or 20 worst album covers. But like when I first saw it, I was like, I was having a weird month. I'm like, oh great, now this. But now I'm like, that's awesome. That's awesome. Like any exposure is good exposure. And it's just like, yeah, it is ugly. Like that's kind of like, I guess that was the point.
Totally.
Maybe I'm saying this to make myself feel way better, but it's like, it almost acts as it being shocking is like art in itself, besides the content of the song. So no.
Well, and it should be shocking that there's like, do you mind telling us like the picture, like actually how you came about?
Well, yeah, I was, so when I knew I wanted to write about this, these situations. So I actually went to the ministry and I got, because you can get files, like, and they document, and in the 80s and 90s, they documented everything. So I got all my files and it was like hundreds of pages. It was wild.
That's crazy. Is this the Ministry of like
Childcare.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, and it was funny because like she gave me this like massive, and I had to like, it took a few months, but she gave me this massive folder. And I remember her telling you, she said, do you have anyone at home? It's like, you don't want to read this alone. Or not that she knew specifically, she just like, in general, it's like, make sure. I was like, oh, wow, that's, okay, this is going to be great. This is going to be a good record.
But that must be such a crazy feeling, though, to know there's all this information on you and your situation, and not knowing what it was. Like,
because these are social workers and different care workers that took these notes. So you kind of, as reading it, you kind of like develop a storyboard or like where they fit into it or what kind of like person. I remember reading one, she was like a bit too hard on someone and like, she's sassy. And just creating characters.
Yeah.
But the album cover specifically was, I had a bruise on my butt because I got spanked in one of the homes I was in, and realizing that the album cover, it probably looked way worse, like something way worse had happened. But that's still, kids shouldn't be hit to the extent of getting a bruise. But and I cut that out, and I didn't realize it happened, and it was weird, like just like reading about it,
Well, and seeing a picture of yourself like exposed like that some stranger like had to take of you, I'm guessing.
Well, that picture was actually taken by the hospital, Children's Hospital,
right,
as evidence.
Yeah, so enough so that there's. Do you even remember
I don't, but it's weird how the brain works, because like reading about it and then realizing the name of my caregiver at the time, like certain flashes, like not flat like images, but like there's something you're like, oh, that's very familiar.
Yeah.
And you don't know if that's just like some sort of, your brain just making sense of it at the time, but it felt very familiar. It was almost like, you watching an old episode of Friends, and you're like, oh yeah, I remember this.
Yeah.
Wow, oh yeah, man. But and then this idea that foster care is a zoo, and they're all, because there's this it's really cool, because when I was writing this record, my younger brother who plays bass for me also, he was writing a paper, and he's an awesome writer. And it was sort of this idea that foster kids are in limbo, and the only chance of it being a positive or like happy ending is adoption. And it's like the difference between adoption and being a foster kid, and how society and class use those two things,
Yeah.
Which is really interesting, because it's kind of like the us,
Yeah.
And I never really thought of my life being hard, because it's just like the life you live, it's your surroundings. Yeah, it's your normal. But it's interesting that it's like you're just waiting to be adopted, or you're waiting for your parents to get their poop in a group.
Yeah. Which eventually like happened for you, right? With your dad getting his shit together.
Yeah, he built a house in Maple Ridge, and it's like props to him. Like he built the house too.
Wow.
With his parents in the image of God.
Was that a positive experience going to live with him?
Oh yeah, because it was like freedom. It really was freedom, because it was like I just it was the first time I could stay up late, and stuff like that. Or he ate out all the time, and I never got fast food a lot, but like I got fast food all the time, so it was awesome. And so,
How old were you when you lived with him? What was that age again?
feel like I moved in with them. It's like starting of high school,
Oh, wow.
grade 8. So like my kid's age, actually.
Wow.
Uh,
Do you, like in processing some of this, like was there a hope that, for one, yeah, you can see it all, you kind of then accept and know why you are the way you are today in hopes that you're going to, again, be not this great dad for your kids or a good partner for your, like for Caitlin or whatever, but is there some of that you're like, okay, I want to process this and heal this so that I can then be okay for the people that I love, like because people weren't okay for me?
yeah, so like there's a superpower that comes along with being a foster kid. It's that when you become a parent, it's really hard to do a worse job than that. Yeah, so it's like, no, but I'm killing it.
Are awesome.
No, and that's like the whole thing though. It's all about showing up, and a lot of, I think, the qualities that people like about me, or the qualities I like about myself, are directly linked towards everything I've witnessed. And I like this idea of witnessing things. I think that's cool.
It's powerful.
And it is powerful because it's almost like it takes you out of the situation, and it's just like you're witnessing you in the situation, So you get to, it's kind of like you get to look at it and reflect, but also observe more.
Yeah.
Which I think is important. But the sad truth is that the record, I really needed something. I wanted to kind of write something important and pull on people's heartstrings, and I wanted it to kind of come easy. So I chose my past.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I did it. I'm never going to do it again. But I think it's just nice. And we were talking about setting yourself up with like certain parameters as an artist, and trying to like focus in on the narrative. Lyrics and content was never really that important to me up until that record.
Interesting.
Yeah. I just kind of needed a little bit of a boost, I think.
Yeah. Do you think it accomplished in yourself what you kind of were hoping it would? Or was it more just cathartic, like now that's kind of out of me and I've processed and...
Well, it's hard because it's like in today, like, well, it's probably been like this for a while, but you spend like 6 months or however long it takes you to write a record, and then you release that record. And then by month 2 of that record being released, it feels like it's over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's over. So it's just like, what am I going to do now? But this record was a bit, for me personally, it was cool and interesting because I got to explore myself, even though it was put on like a little bit of a spotlight, for other people. But I feel like, when I look back on it, and I have, it evokes a lot of emotion.
Yeah.
And I think that's the idea with art.
Yeah.
And it's like art doesn't have to be in tune. It doesn't need to be, blissfully happy.
Yeah.
It can just be really distorted. And but now I'm inviting Christians.
Oh, really?
Okay. Social comedy.
Yeah, social commentary, and that's what I love, and I love talking about like what's going on in the world, and because it's politics right now are so fascinating and so disturbing, and it's like can't trust anyone, like, but it's almost like everything that happens, I'm like,
what was the move? Like, there's always this idea of like, okay, cool. So we're getting $150 and there's no taxes on toys. So maybe they want to boost the economy this Christmas, or like, what's he doing? Or like, yeah, stuff like that. Like, so that I'm really just, I think it's because it's a clown show. Everyone's a bunch of fucking clowns.
Well, like you said, everyone's a child. Like, that's always like, yeah, it's the reason some of us pretend like we're not children. And then all of a sudden, like, the ones that are pretending most, you're like, oh shit, you don't.
The ones in suits, the ones in suits you gotta worry about.
Yeah, for sure. Because they're deluded enough. I think that's, again, why we love like calling ourselves bad people. Yeah. Are we really that terrible? No, but we at least want to kind of err on the side of like sober judgment, right? Like, let's just kind of be more over here to keep ourselves in check a little bit more. And then to sort of not ever kind of be under the guise of like, oh, I'm good, you can trust me. Like, let's never critically think about anything. Let's really like engage, ask questions. Yeah, totally. Your inner world and go like, am I lying to myself? Because again, the babies in the suits that you're like, right, you believe this, like you believe it so deep, so hard that you can't even get out from where you are, right? Which is,
and there can never be just like one motive or one reason. Because if you ask like anyone, their motives are all going to be different, and the perspectives all, even though they may be on the same team or whatever. So it's just like,
it's messy. And again,
it's messy, and it's all about money.
Yeah, power. And I really just want to like affirm your creative, like, again, going back, sorry, just to that record, like you put together a collage of like, here's who I am. This is where I came from. This is the pain. You see it all, and people can be harsh about that or whatever. But at least I'm like, oh, I know this person. He's not lying to himself. He's not lying to anybody else, And like, even that is helpful if you're partnering with somebody, and more people need to be encouraged, I think.
Do you think it would help if I started lying? Would that make my music? Because I'll lie.
Oh yeah, you want to make bank? You want to make bank? Yeah, sell your soul and lie.
Oh, to who? Also,
oh, you do that. The funny thing is that you felt what those lies are. Like, like that's why I feel like people that have gone through brokenness like you probably never actually do that. Because you're like, ooh, no, that's not, you just couldn't. It goes against your very nature.
Yeah, and I don't know, I'm a bit cursed with being intuitive. Like, I'm not like educated. I don't have the strongest vocabulary in the world. But I have this like weird psychic ability of like how I'm when I'm being like lied to or something is not right or right. And it's just like, it's gotten me out of so much danger, I think. I mean, I'm just, that, whatever that is, and that could have just happened from just being heightened as a kid. And,
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like it's a constant thing because, I mean, like, I've even in the music industry, correct me if I'm wrong, but like, is there a pull sometimes to just, write what's popular and write, and like that.
I try.
Yeah.
But every time I do, it's just like, it's a mess.
Yeah. And is it not like,
or I'll be like, yeah, this is catch-right. She's like, no, it's good. It's still fucked though. Like you're always going to sound fucked.
Yeah.
But I remember like specifically Ryan Worsley, who produced my last record, Zoo Life. I was like, yeah, man, one day like we should make just like a pop. I want to make like a pop record, just pop music. Oh no, it's always gonna be weird though. You can try as hard as you want, but it's gonna be weird. I'm like, sweet man. Fuck.
So are you just embracing that and yeah, like where to from here with writing and producing?
Life is all about having the best time. And you can only have the best time when you're just doing exactly what you want. So if you treat music or the process like a kid in the candy store, and I'm just trying not to worry. If it feels good, if it feels good singing that note, most people wouldn't have chose that note, but if it feels good and mom, just do it.
And you liked it.
Yeah. Do it. Yeah. Because like I could have written like Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
And then like a year later been like, oh, I fucking need that song.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't matter because I'm going to hate it, or maybe I'll love it, or maybe I'll hate it and
it's just like I'm going to have a strange relationship with whatever I do anyways. So
Totally.
as long as in the moment and that while you're doing it, you're just making all
Right.
your favorite decisions,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, I like that.
And that's what it's all about.
Yeah. And that requires a sort of bravery too, because I feel like as a writer, like I like to write and I write poetry and stuff. And just there was a while there where I was like, I don't care. I'm just going to post it, like no matter what anyone thinks. As long as I felt like I liked it or it meant something to me, then I'll just post it and put it out there. And then, yeah, there's things I've written now that I look back on and I'm like, either I don't believe that anymore, or I would change this, or I would say that differently. And I feel like that's always going to be the case.
It's always like any case.
Yeah.
And they'll get them.
Yeah. I feel like just the motivation to just do it anyway is like the thing about art that is so, I don't know, magnetic, and like the creativity of it. And yeah, just enjoying it, like you say, like.
Yeah, I think it's honesty that people actually identify with and are like drawn towards. I think all like genre and vocal technique and scales, all of those things, they're relevant, but there's a really cool quote. Let me just remember it. You can have a bad song with a great singer. I can't do anything with that. But you can have a great song with a bad singer. That's something I can work with. And I can't remember what producer said that, but it's so true. And it's like, it's just, the craft is honest.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing.
It changes something from being art to being a product. You think of like, again, some of the great pop music out there, it's not about it's just a product. It's something that we like, bop along to, and it doesn't connect with us in our soul. Whereas art, and I think what you're about is, yeah, like real connection with people and moving the needle towards good, right? Like, when I was reflecting on why we wanted to have you on again, like being around you feels good, even though maybe you have like a Pokemon toque and some green hair. Like some people might see that and go like, oh shit, this dude's like a bad dude. And I'm like, absolutely not. Like when I see how you've been concerned with justice with like coworkers that we had, or people that, need to be feeling confident and sharing truth, like that matters. And I just, it's cool to see how you continue to do that. And
Thanks. I feel the same way.
well, yeah, I'm a work in progress because I think it's
As you should be. I think once you don't think that, that's when.
That's the danger.
but not everybody's like as courageous, I think, as someone like you. Like I think you kind of leaned into this hard, like at a younger age than I ever did, or we did, kind of believing the veneer of what church or being good was supposed to be. And I just, again, your bravery and connection to yourself and to other people is like super inspiring. And yeah, it's thank you for not caring about being perfect, I guess. I don't know. Maybe that really matters.
No, I appreciate that. I think it's I feel the same way. And I just think that it's possible this is the only chance we get to live. So just wear the shit you like to wear, sing the notes you want to sing. I still have a lot of work to do when it comes to telling people really what I think.
Well, sometimes there's a consequence to that. And sometimes this is not the right time for that, right? And so that's okay. Like the consequence to being a truth teller, like, is not an easy, like those are hard things to kind of come up against, right? And so, yeah, I don't think there's shame in that. As long as you know the truth. Like, I don't know. Timing, right? Like, yeah.
I was going to say what you were saying about a good song and a bad singer just immediately makes me think of like Bob Dylan, Leonard Cohen. And I've kind of started with my music love in Christian rock. Like that was like Switchfoot and Scale. But someone I've always admired is John Foreman, because I feel like from Switchfoot.
Switchfoot, I was thinking of, I was singing their song the other day. What's the big one?
They do the Meant to Live. Like
The soul was more. Yeah. Yeah. Such a good song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've always admired him, but he in particular, I think, has stuck to that honesty of like, yeah. But then I love also what you've been saying about spectrum, because like the pop, I do need the pop. Now, like I need to have a dance in my kitchen with my kids and just to feel the joy of being alive in that moment and being able to move my body and breathe and be with someone that I love. And I feel like pop music helps aids in that for me. But then if there's too much of that, I'm like, where's the meat of life? Like where's the writers that are brave enough to like go beneath the surface and talk about real realities and issues? And like, so I think, yeah, just the whole spectrum is very wide, and I like that you've referred to that and, yeah, painted that picture, because I think that's important. Yeah, it's been cool to chat. Yeah, get to know you more.
I don't think you guys are that bad.
Oh, thank you.
We're working on it.
You're working on it.
We're getting there. Okay, closing thoughts. I mean, share a few. I thought we'd share our favorite songs. As you're saying that, I'm like, I love Phony. Phony's a banger. Like, I could dance in my kitchen to that song.
So could I have a favorite song just from like one of my favorite songs? Or does it have to be mine?
Yeah,
well, when you were talking just now, I was thinking about Kate Bush.
Okay.
And
I don't think I've listened to her,
but I've heard like that song got really popular.
Oh yeah, and it was in
I love Kate Bush.
Yes, that song has been used so much. It was in Stranger Things.
Yes.
Yeah, and it was
It got a resurgence.
yeah, and it's been used like in lots of shows lately. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Kate Bush, she's a truth teller.
Yeah, I need to go in and have a listen to her. I really like Lambing Pie.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, it's funky. It's cool. I like it. And I like your sort of poking the bear kind of lyrics with just getting at thought-provoking things that make you think.
Yeah, that one was really funny. I just like the idea of singing about God busting in the sky.
Oh, so good.
Are we eating the lemmings? Is that also what we're doing?
It's about then people will stop streaming.
Oh, so true. Oh, yes. Okay. So, closing thoughts for you. But before I do that, you can be found on iTunes. Spotify.
Finish.
So good. Yeah, you've been the show with me at the end. Sweet. It was also
Green Auto.
Yeah. That was fun. It was like a good energy, and like the people were fun. Yeah, you're a blast to watch live. Yeah, you've got lots of energy. Yeah, so thanks for being here. But yeah, closing thoughts, like anything you want us to know, anything you want to inspire the people, the bad people.
I don't know, just take care of yourself.
Well, I was going to say, do you have any new music coming? Or
Oh yeah, that's the same thing. Yeah, I have a new I think it's gonna be EP coming out early this year. I'm just like writing the last song for it right now. And I would give you the working title, but it's probably going to change knowing how I work.
Yes, awesome.
yeah, that's exciting. Looking forward to listening out.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. Seriously, you are probably a huge reason why this podcast even exists. So thanks.
Does that G on your hat stand for good?
Yeah.
Happy.
A walking contradiction.
But I mean, are we all?
No, but thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you. Loved it. Yeah. See you guys again in a couple weeks. Awesome. Thanks for being here.
Bye.